Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Welcome everyone. I'm Whitney Ward. Starting Monday, Washington's new reopening plan officially goes into effect. That plan was just announced by Governor Jay Inslee earlier this week.
Now local businesses and surrounding counties are trying to figure out what it means for them as our 8-county region enters phase 1 on Monday. Under these new guidelines, some fitness facilities can reopen. Spokane Gymnastics is excited to welcome back its team and reopen for private lessons after being closed 6 out of the last 10 months. But due to state requirements, they are limited to less than 7% capacity, which means only about 34 athletes and coaches can be inside at the same time. Even so, the gym's owner tells us getting to see some kids in person after months of Zoom training is exciting.
We're excited to get back and be around people. Right now it's going to be physically distant, but then in the future being able to give those high fives and hugs and do all that, it'll all be worth it. Dance academies, indoor climbing gyms, tennis centers, and some martial arts studios can also reopen starting Monday. Gyms can also reopen some small group fitness training, again, with some restrictions in place.
So on Monday, Washington's new approach to reopening begins. We're all going to be in phase 1. This week, Governor Jay Inslee announced a new set of phases and new criteria for when those phases can actually begin.
And this time it won't be done by county, it'll be done by region. Our Casey Decker has more now on exactly what will happen come Monday and what smaller counties in our area feel about this new strategy.
The new approach so far has only 2 phases. Phase 1, which is pretty similar to the current restrictions, and Phase 2, which of course lifts some of them. In order to get to Phase 2, a region needs to meet 4 different criteria. Spokane County is part of an Eastern Washington region with 8 other counties. This week, we failed to meet the criteria. So what does that mean? Well, come Monday, we'll enter that new Phase 1. Most of the rules are the same, but there are some changes that certain businesses will be glad to hear about. Arguably the biggest is that some kinds of indoor fitness will now be allowed with masks and distancing. For sports that don't require contact, like gymnastics and climbing, training will be allowed, but only in groups of up to 5, and it should be the same people in each session. Appointment-based fitness will be allowed for up to 45 minutes and with severe distancing requirements, 1 customer per room or 500 square feet. Another change, outdoor venues. Places like zoos and outdoor theaters can allow groups of up to 10 in, as long as those people aren't from more than 2 different households, and groups must be allowed in on a timed, ticketed basis. Again, masks are required. And one other small change, the maximum allowed for outdoor dining will go from 5 people to 6. The new rules also specify again no more than 2 different households in such a group. One of the big differences in the new plan, advancing to Phase 2 will be on a regional basis and entirely based off specific statistics. Now, on the one hand, that means people will have a more specific picture of when reopening could begin. But on the other, it can tie in smaller counties with lower COVID numbers to bigger counties with higher figures. Lincoln County Commissioner Scott Hutzel says that's frustrating given all the hard work that's been done to keep their numbers relatively low.
Not that we don't have any COVID here, don't get me wrong. We've got cases and our per 100,000 has been kind of up and down and stuff, but we think we can make those decisions locally.
He says he understands the region is tied together. Many Lincoln County patients wind up in Spokane hospitals, but he's concerned this solution is oversimplifying. Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
And just a little while ago, the very first statewide report on the new reopening plan was in fact published. None of the regions made the cut to move on to Phase 2. Eastern Washington met 2 of the 4 criteria. Our case rate is declining and we do have ICU capacity, but our test positivity rate is too high and our hospitalizations are increasing when they need to be decreasing in order to move on. We'll have another shot next Friday when that second report is released.
We also wanted to dig a little deeper into our local hospitalization data. So just yesterday, Spokane Regional Health revealed it is no longer reporting which county COVID patients are from. And many have wondered how that's going to fit in under the governor's new reopening plan because hospitalizations play such a role. So it's been an important distinction in the past because it's how the state and the local health districts gauge if our hospital system was getting stressed or where those patients were coming from. But Spokane Regional Health says as case numbers started to rise realized that data was actually not as accurate as they wanted it to be. Also, where a patient comes from doesn't really reflect the current situation. So because of high case volumes, the health district is now focusing its efforts on the total number of COVID patients in our local hospitals. In a statement today, the health district told KREM the total hospitalization numbers are more important to watch, not only out of concern for our hospital's capacity, but also because this is the metric that will be evaluated with the new phase system. Now that is especially important now because of Governor Inslee's new Healthy Washington plan, which we are part of the East region. As we have told you, it's part of 9 different counties here in Eastern Washington. The hospitalization data we know is a critical factor in determining when we can move on to phase 2. It's also very important to note, though, that while the district is still tracking that information, the data itself that you go and look for on the website may be delayed by several days.
Good information there. So let's look at the current numbers today. Spokane Regional Health District reporting 633 new COVID-19 cases today alone. It is the 3rd highest single-day case count that we've had since the pandemic began, and it brings us to 29,205 cases total. There were 6 new deaths to report tonight as well, a total of 405 deaths since the pandemic began, and there are 119 hospitalizations in Spokane County.
In North Idaho tonight, the Panhandle Health District is reporting 222 new cases, as well as 1 new death. Currently, 94 residents of Idaho's 5 northern counties are in the hospital.
All right, let's pause from the headlines for a moment to talk weather. We can finally talk about the weekend forecast because hallelujah, it is Friday.
We made it.
My goodness.
Okay, Tom, we have a question for you. What do you think is the best day to maybe go skiing this weekend?
I like both days.
Okay.
I like Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be mostly dry, maybe a few flurries on Sunday. Here, I'll show you that in just a few moments. Right now, we're at 35 degrees. Winds are calm. Great night for folks down there on the ice ribbon, enjoying some of that ice skating. You take a look at the radar. We did not get the precipitation I thought that was going to move into the area. I showed you that on our future tracker last night, but it's just kind of just dissipated as that precipitation moves to the east. So I've still got a little bit of light rain and snow in the evening forecast, but less and less likely. I'll look for some fog and low clouds to set up tonight with an overnight low of 32, and we'll look for a foggy morning tomorrow with cloudy skies. So I'm not sure we'll get bluebird skiing, but we will see a daytime high of 37, and then we'll continue on to Sunday. Sunday, just a few snow flurries, but we're not anticipating any kind of accumulation, and we'll see a daytime high of 38. And any day you get up to the mountains and do some skiing, it's a great day. I'll have a look at your 10-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Truer words never spoken, right?
Absolutely.
My goodness.
All right, we love this next story. A Cheney High School teacher's dream has turned into a reality. He spent 5 years blogging every day of the school year. Now he's landed a book deal. We're going to tell you all about this right after the break.